Get her out of here. She's disgraced this family. The sharp command echoed through the ballroom, cutting through the music and laughter like a blade. The guests froze mid-toast, their eyes shifting toward the trembling girl at the center of the room. Sofia stood barefoot on the marble floor, her wedding gown torn, clutching the fabric against her chest as if it could protect her from the humiliation. Cameras flashed, gasps rippled through the crowd. Moments ago, she was a bride. Now she was being thrown out like a thief. Eleanor Grayson, the mother of the groom, stood tall in her shimmering silver dress, her expression cold and merciless. "We trusted you with our family name," she spat, "and you repay us by showing up in fake jewels and a knockoff gown? You've embarrassed us in front of everyone." Her husband, Harold, pointed toward the door. "Take her out. I don't want her anywhere near this family again." Sofia's lips trembled. "I didn't pretend. I just wanted today to be special," she whispered, but her voice was swallowed by the laughter and murmurs of the guests. Two men in black suits approached and gently grabbed her by the arms. Her tears blurred the glittering chandeliers above as she was dragged toward the exit, her sobs drowned beneath cruel whispers. No one knew the truth. The mansion they were standing in wasn't even theirs. Hours later, the Graysons sat around a long oak table, sipping champagne and celebrating what they believed was justice. Harold leaned back, smug. "Well, that's one gold digger out of our lives. Can you imagine trying to marry into this family wearing fake diamonds?" Eleanor smirked. "I knew she was trouble the moment I saw her. She thought she could fool us." Their son, Lucas, sat quietly, staring down at his glass. He had loved Sofia once, but when his parents turned on her, he froze. He hadn't defended her, and that silence haunted him now. Just as Harold lifted his glass for another toast, the butler stepped in nervously. "Sir, there's someone here to see you." Harold frowned. "Tell them to leave." "We're busy." The butler swallowed. "Sir, it's Mr. Donato." The name made the room fall silent. Eleanor's hand trembled slightly. "Donato?" "Marcus Donato." Before anyone could respond, the doors opened and a tall man in a black suit stepped in. His presence filled the room instantly. Calm, commanding, dangerous in his stillness. It was Marcus Donato, Sofia's father, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the country. He looked around the room, his eyes sharp as steel. "I came to collect my daughter's dignity," he said quietly. Harold rose from his chair, pretending to stay composed. "Marcus, we didn't realize—" "Oh, I'm sure you didn't," Marcus interrupted, his tone steady but lethal. "You saw a humble girl and thought she had nothing. That made it easy for you to humiliate her, didn't it?" Eleanor's voice quivered. "She deceived us. She made us believe—" "Believe what?" Marcus cut in. "That love didn't need a price tag? That she didn't need to announce who she was to earn respect?" The room went dead silent. Marcus walked slowly to the center of the dining hall, looking up at the chandeliers, the paintings, the luxury around them. Then, with a faint smirk, he said, "You've been throwing parties in my mansion." Confusion flashed across Harold's face. "What are you talking about?" Marcus turned to the butler. "Henry, would you?" The butler stepped forward, handing Marcus a folder. Marcus slid it across the table. "The deed of ownership," he said. "This estate has been under Donato Holdings for 6 years. You've been leasing it from one of my companies. Seems your accountant forgot to tell you who your landlord was." Eleanor gasped. "That's impossible." Marcus's eyes hardened. "What's impossible is the cruelty you showed my daughter under this roof. You used her pain for your amusement. You stripped her dignity in front of strangers. Now you'll watch what it feels like to lose yours." And he left. By the next morning, headlines spread like wildfire. "The Grayson Empire collapses overnight. Properties reclaimed by Donato Holdings. Wedding scandal exposes fake fortune of prominent family." Their investors fled, their accounts were frozen, and the grand family who had mocked a poor girl lost everything they owned. Meanwhile, far from the chaos, Sofia sat on the balcony of her father's seaside villa, wrapped in a soft robe. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but she looked peaceful, watching the sun rise over the water. Marcus poured her tea and sat beside her. "You don't have to thank me," he said softly. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it so you'd remember. You never bow to cruelty. She smiled faintly. I just wanted to belong, Dad. He placed his hand over hers. Belonging doesn't come from their approval. It comes from knowing who you are outside. The waves crashed gently against the rocks, echoing the calm power of his words. Weeks later, a knock sounded at Sofia's door. When she opened it, Lucas stood there holding a small velvet box. His face was pale, his eyes heavy with guilt. I came to apologize, he said quietly. I was a coward. I should have stood up for you. Sofia looked at him for a long moment. You didn't lose me because of your parents, she said softly. You lost me because you stayed silent. He lowered his head, tears glistening in his eyes. I understand. She handed the box back to him. Keep it. Maybe it'll remind you that silence destroys more than words ever could. Lucas nodded and walked away, leaving her standing in the doorway. Not angry, just free. That night, Sofia stood beside her father on the balcony. The city lights shimmered below, painting the sky in golden blue. Do you regret loving him? Marcus asked gently. Sofia smiled faintly. No. Love taught me strength, but their cruelty taught me worth. Marcus looked at her proudly. Then they've already lost more than they'll ever know. A soft breeze brushed through her hair as she breathed deeply, releasing the pain that once held her down. Sometimes destruction isn't the end, it's the correction. If this story touched you, subscribe and comment your country below. Because sometimes the quietest revenge is simply living with dignity.